recording and start that stream. Welcome to Horsin Around, a dumbass cast. I'm your host, as always, Nick Brigante, and with me today I have 4 lovely guests. If you would like to introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm special correspondent Christian Meekman.
Hello, I'm unspecial correspondent, Jacob in the Field Johnson.
I wasn't paying attention. What was the order? I'm Tori.
I'm Brad, and I live like this. I have a question for the host, Nick. You said you're always the host, yes?
Yes, that is... Well...
Who would you choose to be a guest host if you ever had to choose a guest host?
I mean...
Out of anyone on the planet.
Oh. Well, like, yeah, if you're talking, like, celebrities, fucking... I don't know.
The new host and executive producer of Jeopardy. Woo!
Who is that? I haven't followed the new.
It's literally it's a fucking it's 2 people technically, but Bollock doesn't host the main show. She just hosts like the special.
She only hosts the prime time.
Yeah. But literally what happened is that they did the whole like, hey, guest host for a couple months. We're like testing out the waters. We got like a whole interview process, and then they just chose the executive producer, who is a milquetoast white guy, and everyone. What the fuck was the point of this?
Look, man, if you're gonna pick a milquetoast white guy, at least pick Ron Rodgers. The poor man
exactly. That's the
doesn't
problem.
want to play football anymore for the Green Bay Packers. Let him.
If you're going to pick the white guy who was good at hosting the show, not the white guy who was bad at
hosting Jeopardy.
Was he one of the guest hosts that was just on for a bit and he just did a good job?
He had charisma. He also had like the delivery that is like requested of Alex Trebek, of just like. You hand out, you dole out the compliments, you dole out the insults, and then you dole out
the questions.
And the questions.
Yeah, he was good.
This is the order of importance. I remembered the questions, but the questions are the 3rd most important part of that job.
All right. Speaking on charisma, and to answer your question, Brad, I think I think just came to mind Jeff Goldblum. Seems like a fun dude.
Ooh, okay.
And I can would love to have him as a guest host.
Counterpoint.
Okay.
Counterpoint. I love Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, actors of all time.
Yeah.
But I also think that current age Jeff Goldblum, he's got to reel himself back in a little bit.
he's dipped too far into.
He's like when you watch the apartments.com ad, you're like, it's hilarious. He's like hamming it up for the camera. But then every interview I've ever seen him in, I'm like, he's got the same energy as the apartments.com ad, and I don't know why.
Do you think Jeff Goldblum is flanderizing himself? Like he's keyed in on his persona that is perceived by the public.
Maybe, yeah.
A little bit.
Into it a little too much.
Yeah. I think that might be it. I think with the proper direction. He can reel himself back in. Like, I think his performance in Ragnarok, when you have someone like Taika Waititi behind the camera being like, Jeff, here's what I need you to do. Like, that strikes the right balance, because he's like over the top, like Jeff Goldblum, but it's contained to like an extent.
Yeah, it's contained to the character properly. That is not like he's not like a main character in that movie. He's like he has a role and it's funny, but it's a very much a side character thing, and you're like, haha, Jeff Goldblum being funny, but then like it's just enough where you're like, all right, it's not getting like overbearing as like how crazy he's or how silly he's being on screen.
Speaking about people who have magnetic personalities, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna fucking change the topic because I
answered the question, so it's run its course.
Not a guest host. I was gonna say you should. The other guest host I would suggest would be it would be hilarious to have Stone Cold Steve Austin host this podcast.
For this podcast.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the fuck's. I don't know, like that. The celebrity host question is just such a wild one in general, because this is such a dipshit podcast where nothing and everything happens at the same time.
All right, today at 316 Gimmick Street, we're gonna talk about visual novels.
I thought you were were just gonna say who's gonna be a host other than me, I was just gonna say Jacob because he's basically just a secondary.
That would be
host
too easy,
point.
man. I'm coming in with the hard questions.
I was gonna say if you don't say Jacob, even with celebrity options, I'll riot.
Jacob's the real answer for who you get to guest host.
Yeah, but
I think you should do that sometime. You should have him guest host.
Yeah.
I mean,
that means I gotta stream this to like Nick's channel, and I don't want to do that. That sounds like a lot of work.
Well, he can still stream it, but nobody knows he's streaming it.
Well, what would the
point?
What
streaming right now. I don't know how that would change.
What would the point be of having him guest host if I'm still gonna be on it and streaming it, but he's just gonna be the one that says I'm the host?
No.
That's
you
it.
guest host because like you take a week off. You're like, oh, I'm on vacation.
Right. But then Brad's saying that I still stream it, so then that's defeating the whole point of him being a guest host.
It to your channel.
Yeah. Right, but then he has to run it, and then that becomes his problem.
It's just Nick. You run the stream, but you aren't there, so it's just an empty space where you normally are.
Jacob, I don't have my fucking water ball on me.
That's
don't make me do this right now. I will
That's
do it at the end of the show for your chuckle fuck ass. I'm not gonna hydrate right now.
Anyway, you guys watched that clip with Brendan Fraser where he was like, "Oh shucks, thank you." I'm like, "I love you, Brendan. What a good guy."
Yeah, Brendan
Fraser.
I know it's been making the rounds in news. Yeah, it literally happened like this week.
Oh shit!
I
have not seen it.
You know how this weekly podcast is usually, we usually try and keep things tight.
Of
with,
course,
like, a lot
we're
of
known for that. That is something we're definitively.
We're on a very tight ship around.
Keep this banter in, double it exactly. But yeah, but Brendan Fraser was just having like an interview with like someone, and they're like, "Hey, Brendan, I want you to know that like we're all behind you, and the internet's behind you." And he like got choked up for a sec, and he was like, "Oh shucks, thank you, ma'am," because he had his cowboy hat on, so he was Cowboy Brendan. And I'm like, what a guy!
I think is this it? I just looked it up on.
Let me look.
I can't see.
I mean, it basically it was one of those things where like. It was so wholesome that it like every daytime news outlet fucking picked it up and ran the story. I don't know.
We love to see it.
Brendan.
We love. Well, hopefully we'll get to see him back in a little bit.
In action.
He's starting to work on a movie, right?
Like he's well. That was the thing is like he was being interviewed because he recently got picked up for some really big roles recently. Like I think he's working on a Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, he's
he's on Doom Patrol.
Yeah, Doom Patrol's been the main thing for a while now, which is cool to just like see him consistently in that.
He just was in No Sudden Move. He's in Behind the Curtain of Night. He's going to be in The Whale.
Yeah, the Darren Aronofsky film.
Darren Aronofsky, and then Killers of a Flower Moon, which is the Martin Scorsese one. So. I don't know. It's one of these things where I also feel like the Brendan Assance or whatever we're fucking calling it, I feel like has been something that a lot of people have talked about a long time. But I think it really has come to power with like people our age and slightly older who grew up with a lot of Brendan in their lives.
Got the Mummy classics. Like, you got Journey to the Center of the Earth. You can't put those aside.
Journey to the Center of the Earth is where we start.
What are you talking about? That movie is great. It's fucking dinosaur running around chasing them. It was a great time.
The best Journey to the Center of the Earth movie is Aquaman. Fucking fight me on it.
Wasn't there a sequel to that Brendan Fraser movie that starred The Rock?
Yeah, it was called Journey to the Center of the Earth, but the 2 in that movie was a 2 because they actually know how to title films. Unlike Now You See Me 2 when it should have just been, Now You Don't, which would have been hilarious.
Some fucking executive was just had a real stick up.
He was like, they'll never know what we're talking about if we don't put a 2. We need the 2.
You need it. You need it.
I don't know. I like Brendan. He's had like a pretty rough ride. Like I read up on like what happened to him because I was like, what happened to Brendan Fraser? And then it was just sort of like, like a lot of personal shit, and then also like a lot of Hollywood shit happened to him all.
Yeah, because he was absolutely a rising on the uphill climb, right, for Hollywood. Because he's in the Mummy movies, this big star. He was in Crash, which is a bad movie, but it was Oscar, won the Oscar. Like he was, he was in.
He was in the third Mummy movie.
He was doing stuff. So, and then suddenly he wasn't anymore, which was,
Well, what's crazy is that So I was looking up his filmography before, but now I have it open. Literally before 2019, his last film was in 2014. He had like a 5-year hiatus of like no film.
Yeah.
I'm
surprised he was doing things in 20. Like I think he pretty much dropped off the radar like even before that point. So
he was doing some TV stuff.
Hmm.
He was in an interesting adaptation of 3 Days of the Condor that was just called Condor on the Audience Network, which no longer exists. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, none of this.
God, remember those days when like everyone was just like, "Whoa, we've got this figured out. We'll do our own thing," and then they fucking crash immediately, and you're like, "Well,
yeah.
guess you figured."
What the fuck was the Audience Network?
There's the network for Audience.
Oh.
It's in the name.
Well, shit. Yeah, I am the audience.
Something from AT&T, I think. Yeah, AT&T.
Wow, AT&T buying media properties, selling them, and then going, wait a sec, we're not a media company. We don't know what to do, and then selling that back. I've never heard the story before in my life. In other news, AT&T sells Warner Brothers to Discovery, and we'll never know what happened.
Are they gonna? What's their next big buy though? What are they gonna buy before they sell?
I don't know. AT&T is gonna buy the fucking moon, and then they'll be like, I don't understand why the Earth is on fire, and then they'll nuke space or some shit like that. AT&T doesn't know what the fuck to do. They're a big fucking telecoms company, and they just fucking have too much money on their hands.
Anyways, yeah, we're always sending good vibes to Brendan. That's always the vibe. Because Brendan's a cool dude.
Yeah, he like
good shit.
I think also
we support the Renaissance.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff, but I also think that weirdly enough, Doom Patrol is what really helped get.
Is Doom Patrol a good show? Has anybody here watched it?
I watched a couple episodes, and I remember those couple episodes being pretty good, but I didn't stick with it because it was one of those things where it's like, it's a Warner Brothers property. It's on HBO Max. I don't have an HBO Max subscription, and every day I'm like, I should really get an HBO Max subscription because so much of the stuff I want to watch is on HBO Max.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they surprisingly are starting to get a good roster of shit going on for them. So
yeah,
becoming more and more tempting.
Yeah,
still holding out.
Like it has a reboot.
No.
All right, look, HBO Max got a lot of hits, but you know sometimes they miss. So
what are you talking about? I love the Gossip Girl.
Oh,
I'm not even kidding.
I love my shirt. Hold on.
Brad, I need to ask for another fun and cool topic shift. You have dropped in and then bolded Watermelon Farmer.
Bold, yeah.
What's going on there? What the fuck
is it's
Watermelon
story time.
Farmer? Okay.
So I am now a watermelon farmer.
Oh,
as of this summer. I was at Target. And we were shopping for some things, and I was in an aisle, and I saw this little. I could get the box, but I don't have it. It's downstairs, and it was this $5 box, and it said, "Children's Science Experiment: Grow Your Own Watermelon." And I was like, you know what? It costs $5 to buy one at the store, so I'm gonna buy this. And I took it.
Sorry, go on.
I took it here. I opened it up. I'm making a YouTube video about it. I planted the seeds, and they're growing right now. Let me send a picture in the chat of what they look like today.
I am in love with the branding for just watermelon seeds. That it had to be labeled as a science experiment to entice children. You can't just be like, here's some watermelon seeds. You could grow some fucking watermelons. It has to be an experiment to show that you can grow plants. Holy shit!
Someone approaches you with either they approach you and they ask, do you want $1 million or do you want watermelon seeds? And you don't pick the $1 million. You gotta pick the watermelon seeds so that you grow 5 watermelons, and then you take the seeds from the watermelons and grow 5x more watermelons, and then you sell those watermelons, and then
that's my genius plan. I was like, if I make $1 billion,
with $1 million, you could also buy a lot of watermelons.
No, Beekman, you never take the $1 million. That's the
fool's play.
Philosophy. That's the fool. An entrepreneur would know to take the watermelons.
Yeah, I guess this is why I'm not an entrepreneur.
Yeah, we're also an economics podcast by nature of Jacob being here, so you can get all your financial advice.
Never tie any of my economics philosophy to fucking financial fucking TikTok or wherever the fuck I stole that from. Holy shit. Those guys are fucking wild.
Oh, man. No, but and honest to God, I think I probably as a kid was sold on the same shit where, yeah, it was some, like, little carrot seeds and, like, green bean seeds or whatever that you could, like, grow.
I did not expect them to grow. I didn't expect it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, are you gonna maintain it? Are you gonna maintain a little watermelon orchard? There you go, man.
I think you're not supposed to plant them in the same spot for 3 years, so I might have to take a break or go somewhere else for my watermelon empire. But
you want to prevent yourself a little
crop rotation lifestyle,
right? Yeah, you want to make sure that you don't start up a miniature Dust Bowl in your backyard because that could become a problem. So gotta keep that in check. But that's really cool, man.
Those are coming along great.
I sent a couple pictures here. The bottom one, with the flower, that's from about, I don't know, 2.5 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And then the next one is from 3 days ago, and the most recent one is from today.
Yeah.
So they're growing pretty quick.
Things huge.
I won't lie, like gardening shit actually, it makes me kind of hype. Like my ultimate goal is to live in a place where I have access to either my own garden or like a community garden where I can just
I completely get that now.
Own peppers, own watermelon.
Yeah, being able to like grow the ingredients that you can then use in like fucking recipes for shit seems like a really cool. Just being able to do that, be like, oh, okay, let me just grab some fucking basil real quick.
Yeah,
just straight out the garden.
Dude, that's what I love about the country, and even just like driving through, because like everybody has like farmland. So even if you're just like driving through, people have farm stands out in front of their houses for just crops that they grew in their backyard. You could buy them for like 50 cents per like corn on the cob.
Now, do you think that could be this weird correlation between the middle of the country and the amount of farmers that live out there?
Yeah, that's what's great about it, though. That's what I love.
Just as a setting the scene, you traveled literally across the country over the past like week or so, right, Tori?
Yeah, I drove the entirety of Route 90, and it was sick. Wisconsin actually was my favorite state, and I never thought I would say that. Wisconsin is very cool.
Well, okay.
I mean, the Midwest is like even though I probably wouldn't live out there because I don't like places with no people in it. But the Midwest is a weirdly cool part of the country that I feel like people talk about, but not enough people are like, yeah, the Midwest. Am I right? Because it feels like there's like such a weird like blue collar Midwest, like factory towns slowly crumbling, issues in the Midwest. But in actuality, it's just like, no, the Midwest is a very beautiful part of the country, and there are a lot of cool people who live out there. Also, there's like a lot of immigrant communities in the Midwest, which is like very cool.
But like, and part of that beauty is just because people fucking capitalists in early 1900s America decided not to just build factories every half mile there, you know? It's just generally an area that outside of the population centers, which as you've already pointed out are like starting to crumble because all the fucking factories have left the areas. You know, they just decided that there's no reason to fuck up the natural landscape, and so they didn't, and now we've just got farms, which there are.
Well, they fucked up the natural landscape like a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
People forget that. People forget that there's there's also a lot of natural landscape.
Right. Yeah.
In those, like,
there's natural landscape everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this. Wisconsin, big state. Rhode Island on the East Coast, small state.
Perhaps even
not much land
state
left in Rhode Island because Rhode Island, not much land to begin with.
Yeah, but yeah, it's very fucking beautiful out there. I remember going to Yellowstone and fucking that shit.
No.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean, Tori?
Everybody sucks dick on Yellowstone. Listen, I'm not trying to be naturally selected. I hate Yellowstone.
What is that?
I will die.
Oh, you just don't like the fact that you're not the apex predator there, huh?
No, I am not the apex predator there.
It's the bison.
Take one step off of a path and fall through magma crust and get boiled alive.
Yeah, and that's fucking dope.
Listen.
Look, Corey, Yeah, I'll let Beekman go.
If you bring an MGL 32 40mm grenade launcher, you're the apex predator anywhere, as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, I don't think they let those into the park, Beeks. I gotta be honest with you.
No, I'd be surprised.
Tori, it's fine. Look, I'm gonna pull the I've lived in Hawaii cards. Sometimes you just go to the national park that is just a volcanic crater, and you're like, wow, that's steam vents that go all the way down to the fucking Earth's core. That's fucking red, and then you just keep on walking. Like, it's fine.
Sometimes you just
I have never been able to enjoy Yellowstone because I went there maybe like 5-6 years ago at this point, maybe 7 years ago, something like that. And in the gift shop, on the way in, I read a book called like 101 Ways to Die in Yellowstone National Park.
Okay, well that seems like...
Yeah, that book is very helpful, Tori.
With that knowledge forefront in my mind. And I've never been able to enjoy it since.
Perhaps that is a matter of mental attitude, where you are approaching it with a little bit of a Debbie Downer there. But also,
I agree.
I think there is an inherent thrill in approaching the dormant supervolcano that at any time could severely fuck up all of North America and the world at large by becoming not dormant.
So the dormant supervolcano, okay, we got like plenty of those that are threatening the world at any given time, you know.
Yeah.
But it's the danger that is just under the surface that is worrisome. The danger that is still there and very much active.
Can't we just give the volcano a NyQuil or something?
Yeah, we just pour a whole bunch of Benadryl down the.
Yeah, put it back to sleep.
Brad, I don't believe that. Unfortunately, Yellowstone National Park is not exactly the same as the fucking National Flesh Pit, whatever that fucking.
National Flesh
Pit.
Have you? Hold on. Flesh Pit. What is it called?
Wait, is the Flesh Pit the same thing as the Flesh Ball that would be the size of Central Park?
No. I'm talking about the Mystery Flesh Pit National Park, which is a
what?
It's an ARG piece of media. I think we've probably touched on this in a previous episode, but I'll link it here again. This is the Tumblr page for it. Which is actually pretty nicely laid out, and it's just got it is just a hypothetical fictional world, sort of similar to like an SCP type deal, where there's just a national park that is like situated on and within a dormant superorganism beneath the Earth's surface.
What is this Resident Evil? What the hell is this?
Cool.
Yeah, no, it's super fucking cool, and it's a great little dive into and little read, and I don't know if this page covers the incident report of like when shit got fucked up, but there's a little short story that comes along with all of this media that accompanies this. That's like when basically the Flesh Pit like threw up and fucked up like hundreds of miles of terrain by doing so.
Okay, so Nick, you ever reminded me of something because I was like, oh yeah, that's like an ARG, like it's like it's not real. But then I thought about like natural attractions in the US that are just, oh shit, wait, why is this real? This is real? Question mark. Because then I remembered about how Centralia, Pennsylvania is just Silent Hill.
What do you mean?
It's the town that Silent Hill is based off of, but it is actually just Silent Hill. Centralia, so it's Centralia. It's a town.
Oh my goodness.
Where a coal mine caught on fire and literally has been burning since like the 60s.
Oh, it's like the Hell Portal in Russia.
Yeah, it's like the Hell Portal in Russia. But I kind of like this one a little bit better because it's literally a never-ending fire. The Hell Portal in Russia is just like, we dug too deep, no one go down there.
But it is on fire as well, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, the Hell Portal in Russia is on fire, but like I think it depends because like they like dug too deep and then a fire broke out. But then I think part of it also flooded at the same time. I don't know. The Russian Hell Portal is like a weird one.
Oh god. Large crack in the Pennsylvania highway.
Also, the Russian Hell Portal is owned by the commies, and Centralia, PA is in good old America. Hooah!
Good old freedom land. We got our. It's not a Hell Portal here. We call it a Freedom Portal. And so you gotta respect. Yeah. So wait, so this town just doesn't it's just completely evacuated because it's no longer habitable, or it's a near ghost town. There's still people in it. Okay.
There's still some people in it. There's 5 people in it as of 2017.
Oh my god. What is the point of There's such
hilarious. Founded by Jonathan Faust.
Who is that?
Faust is a very famous epic, I guess, which is about a guy who makes a deal with the devil.
Okay.
So that adds some literary comedy.
Oh, there's just the name happens to be the same as his character.
The founder of the town has the same last name, Faust.
Ah, I see.
And the town is on fire constantly. Well, not the town, the coal mine underneath the town, which causes the town to be engulfed in smoke at all times.
Hold on. All real estate in the borough was claimed under eminent domain in 1992 and condemned by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Centralia's zip code was discontinued by the Postal Service. So how do the people here get mail?
What?
If they don't have a zip code?
They're not supposed to live there. That's the thing.
State and local officials reached an agreement with 7 remaining residents in October 29th, 2013, allowing them to live out their lives there, after which the rights to their houses will be taken through eminent domain. So these people are literally just squatting, just for the sake of they lived here and they don't want to move. And then after this, it's just...
Toxic gas and smoke is rising from the ground above the fire. Why are they staying there?
Because they live there.
They're from rural Pennsylvania, and that's the end of the statement, and I think you need to read it.
Look, man, if you live there your entire life, a fucking coal fire that's burning under your feet for 50 years ain't gonna... If it's been burning there for that long already, what's gonna get you to move after that? Nothing. At that point, you're just immovable. So...
Oh, I found a news about Centralia. In April 2020, amidst the early part of the COVID-19 pandemic, the property's current owners made the decision to cover the graffiti highway section of Old Route 61.
Why? That shit looks so dope! That was one of the pictures I was looking at in...
Yeah, I'll send you.
Which one? Yeah, send me the picture. Yeah. Also, I just love this photo. I sent it in Horsin around.
Underground
warning, danger, underground mine fire.
Just letting you know.
Ground is prone to sudden collapse.
Yeah, see, that's what I hate. That's the shit I hate.
Dude, I hate when the ground falls.
But it's not like the fucking Yellowstone geysers are going to suddenly erupt under your feet. They're in very specific areas.
No. The geysers are fine. It's the thin crust of the earth. You can't go walking you shouldn't go walking in the wilderness at Yellowstone National Park.
Yeah.
Because why? Because
they tell you to stay on the
rangers telling you don't go wandering in the wilderness at Yellowstone National Park, you'll die.
Yeah, Tori, are you planning on disobeying the very clearly posted signs that are put everywhere around the park where most people travel?
No.
Okay.
I'm not.
So then where's the problem?
Learned that the hard way.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Anyway, who ruined all this nice graffiti by putting a Jeep Rubicon there?
The property owners, I don't know, man.
But why? Okay, so yeah, why the fuck did they get rid of this?
Because they want to disincentivize people from going there. Because I don't know if you read earlier in the article, but there's a hellfire beneath that place that's constantly spewing toxic gas into the air.
That's just sad. Come on.
Yeah, I'm really worried about the artistic integrity someone did on top of this fucking flame.
There's still pictures of it.
Yeah,
there's still pictures of it.
Good, but it's just they really if it was going to be abandoned permanently as soon as these residents abandoned it or passed away or whatever, why is there any reason to cover?
Nick, did you miss the part where a guy went, this will be a great photo op for my Jeep Rubicon? He's not the first one who owns a Jeep Rubicon who thought that. And the U.S. government literally has to go all right, we can't fucking trust you, you big dumb idiots. You keep coming to the hell spot. We're taking away your graffiti.
Look, if some idiots do that, that's just on them, okay? They don't. You don't need to get rid of the art. If some idiots don't get
vaccinated, that's just on them. I guess you're right, Nick. We shouldn't care about other people's poor decision making. I know, but it's so funny to me.
Here's a thing I just thought of. So I'm looking at this picture that says ground is prone to sudden collapse. And it reminded me of something I was thinking about the other day, right?
Okay.
If you pour water on the ground, it sinks into the ground.
The water sinks into the ground.
Yes, and it keeps going.
Yeah.
So
I mean, keeps going is a very loose term to put there.
If you pour a stream of water
into the ground,
right? But if you don't continuously pour water
on the ground, and it's just like, I guess I'm going to the center of the earth now.
It'll certainly try, though, by nature of gravity. But then, yes, it will get captured by the dirt and the animals living in the dirt and the grass that is in the dirt also. But
right. So the point I was making is it would suck to be a drop of water. Okay, that's all I'm saying. It would suck to be made out of water.
Yeah, I've already watched this episode of the Magic School Bus. What are you getting at?
It needed to be said.
I mean, I won't lie. That episode of the Magic School Bus is very existential because they turn into fucking water drops and they're like trapped in there. And I'm like, yo, fuck that shit. I don't want to know.
Yeah, but like, it's you're still part of the water cycle for the most part. Like, eventually.
So are you. What's your
eventually?
Yeah, that's what. So what? I guess I'm perplexed by this hypothetical in the sense that you eventually. I guess yes, it's a scale of time thing where compared to our normal human lifespans, you might be stuck there for decades, just sitting there, and then eventually you'll probably evaporate. Well, no, yeah, you won't even get sucker for decades. Like when it gets hot out, you'll fucking evaporate, and then you'll be in the clouds again, and then you'll fall back to the earth. And it just keeps going, like unless you really go deep down there.
Just falling. You're just falling forever, except for the parts where you're rising, but the rest of the time you're falling.
You're falling, except for when you're not falling. Very profound. We're technically
falling forever because that's
also how gravity
how the solar
works.
System work. But
yeah, man, we're
just
really
land.
We're really hitting all the existential keynotes here on the day.
Anyway, that's why you can't go off the track at Yellowstone because you'll fall forever.
There we go, and it all comes full circle.
You fall into the geysers.
You're gonna drown in boiling water underneath the shallow crust of the earth.
Good lord. What else we got on here?
If you think about it, the Earth is just one big stuffed crust.
Yeah, except the cheese is magma, and you should not eat that cheese.
Yes, that is what I was getting at.
For being somewhere who would find us very delicious.
Yeah. Yeah. Galactus loves his fucking stuffed crust Earth. Yummy, yummy. There's another current event that is on this topic list that I did throw Beekman in here after seeing him pop it in the chat for being sort of a big deal that I personally don't have much knowledge on, but I'm sure you have a little bit more than I do. And just to be clear, this topic is me buying shoes. Right? Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yes.
It's down to brass tacks. What are we looking for, Jacob? What kind of statement do you want to make?
All right, as an example, I am currently in the capital of Afghanistan, and I would like to leave there with the most comfortable shoes possible.
May I recommend the Solomon GTX 4D Quest hiking boot?
How did you just pull that out of your ass? Do you have those shoes? I'm assuming you have those shoes.
It's 4D hiking boots?
I got my
can I smell the hiking boots?
Those are pretty sturdy. Those look pretty good.
He actually has the fucking shoes.
But they're also
anyways, yes, the actual
$200.
topic is that the fucking we finally done it. We've pulled out of Afghanistan, and things are going exactly as expected. So, yeah.
I think they're going worse than expected, right? Wasn't that the?
Yeah, I think people weren't quite expecting this.
Faster than expected.
Faster, but like I don't know. There have been some people. There's been this weird narrative that people who clearly were not really paying that much attention to Afghanistan saying like, well, this is why we shouldn't have left. We had this small presence. It wasn't costing us that much money in a macro sense. But like, no, not. The status quo is not being maintained in Afghanistan the past few years. Like all the various security apparatus of Afghanistan, police, National Army, special operations dudes are taking horrendous casualties over the past 2 years, trying to keep the Taliban at bay as they, spread around the country and essentially set up the sort of
invasion that's now occurring.
Made the moves that you would do to make this happen for when the U.S. finally pulls up stakes and takes this ball and goes home. And so, so the only choices were either like, oh, we need to do yet another Afghanistan surge, a major expenditure of money and American, more American troops, for extended combat operations, and I don't know. There's not the political will for that in Washington. So but yeah, I don't think people quite expected the sort of stunning success that the Taliban have had. They've negotiated some things. They've taken over other places, and got the army on the run. They're in the midst of taking the major city in the north, Mazar-e-Sharif, and two of the sort of regional
they actually did take
fled. Yeah,
they took it today.
Yeah, so
I think the big question, obviously looming in the air is like, what is the right thing to do at this point? And I don't.
I mean, look, man, this is just the end result of when you make some poorly thought out decisions. And a lot of what has gone wrong in Afghanistan during this 20 years is obviously our fault in the decisions we made and the things we just did not understand, and the things we should have had a plan for but didn't. There are some factors that were out of our control, certainly. It is probably pretty prescient for Al-Qaeda to have Ahmed Shah Massoud, who is the leader of generally the sort of opposition forces of the Taliban, who fought against the Taliban in the 90s up in the north. He was killed 2 days before 9/11. So, and he was probably the dude who, if he had been alive, he would probably be the guy who would have been pushed to be the first leader of the new Afghanistan. But he was dead, so we had to settle for. There were not really any other great options. So so this is the Saigon 1975 moment, but for America in the 21st century rather than the 20th. So
I mean, sorry to jump in, but like the weird thing is, like, a lot of people are comparing to, like, it's the Saigon moment, but I'm also like, yeah, but do you guys remember that, like, the fall of Saigon was us leaving Vietnam because we were like, wow, we fucked this shit up real bad. We probably shouldn't have done this. Which, I mean, it's not a good situation still, but like, it's a.
Well, that's I don't know. That's part of the whole equation.
Kind of like what
right?
Beekman was talking about like how, I don't know. I was listening to like NPR or something the other day, and someone was like, "Yeah, can you believe it? This is like." The Biden administration really messed up. And I was like, I listened to NPR for like the last 20 years, and every fucking day you guys were like, can you believe we're in Afghanistan? And it's like, yeah, this is what happened. Like, we literally spent 20 years.
I will say, in trying to get this thing of like, oh, let's be out before 9/11, before the 20th century.
No, I agree. That's stupid.
Anyone who knows even a little bit about Afghanistan knows that the fighting season is in the spring, in the summer.
Yeah.
Because that is when the Taliban can transition the various rat lines that run between the Pakistan-Afghan border, as much as you can call it, a border. And then in the fall and the winter, when it's very cold and the conditions suck, they can't transit there. You would have done it then, because you would have at least got the Afghan government a few more months. But
I agree. Also, I'm also like, I don't know. I'm a weird person who's kind of like left leaning, but I also am very interventionist, which a lot of left leaning people don't like. So I'm not big on like, I don't know. I'm big on like, yeah, give the Kurds all like literally like figure out ways in order to intervene internationally on humanitarian fronts, which is like a very weird thing to do, and it's not easy, but like that's my thing. It's like, I understand it's not easy, but I don't know, it's definitely one of these weird things where it's like, yes, could this have been handled better? Yes, but also some of the arguments are literally being made by people who are like, I don't care what happens. We should have pulled out a long time ago. And then literally the pullout goes about as poorly as, like, it goes worse than one expects, but it still goes poorly.
I mean,
as one
really,
would,
the decision locus comes to, you obviously September 11th happens, and you have to decide what your response to that, because a feasible response is, hey, do nothing, and simply try and strengthen and
strengthen your defenses rather than go on the
your security apparatus. But that is politically untenable for a variety of reasons. Then the question is, like, do we just really say, all right, Al Qaeda planned this, let's just focus on Al Qaeda? Who cares about? Yeah, the Taliban suck, and it's a bad time, especially if you're a woman in Afghanistan. But Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda people plan this. Let's go to Afghanistan, find bin Laden, schwack his ass, and then it's like, hey, talk to the say to the Taliban, hey, we don't want to have to come back here.
Yeah.
Don't host terror organizations who attack the United States again.
Yeah.
And then we out. But obviously it's like, well, if we're invading, the problem in the United States is not good at nation building.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a very not good track record of intervening.
Most imperial nations are bad at nation building, but the U.S. has a track record of being on the fucking top tier list of nations bad at nation building in other countries.
Also, Afghanistan, for a variety of cultural, geographical, and other reasons, bad place to try and make a coherent net. Really, what this goes back to, if we really want to get to the root cause of this, don't ever let fucking English men draw maps. Don't fucking do it. It's never gone well.
What was that? It's like
Sykes-Picot in the Middle East, shit show. Fucking India, Pakistan, shit show. Afghanistan, shit show.
Yeah. It is the.
What is the common denominator? Fucking Brit-bongs.
It is the ever-present.
Beekman, they left the European Union. The empire will never set on the British Empire ever again.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I agree. Like, I think there's like that quote. I don't know if it's like a misquote or something, but like, there's a quote I remember hearing in like history class of like.
Oh, he's died.
Oh.
Jacob has officially died. As we wait for him to return for his legendary quote. It basically just comes back to the ever-present colonialism issue of people not from a region trying to dictate the best practices and future of said region. There's obviously, you could be like, look at something and be like, okay, maybe beheading your fellow citizens and treating your women as second-class citizens is not good generally. Yes. But then trying to turn a Middle Eastern society into a Western society, because that's all you know how to do, is maybe not the right play to be making. I feel like that is...
And we still haven't learned that lesson.
Right.
The other thing to note about Afghanistan is, like, it is also very distinct from the Middle East, like the sort of, stuff in the Arabian Peninsula and Northern Africa, like the tribal culture, the Pashtun culture, like that is like distinct from even other shit. So it's like, it's hard to apply, like, because there was an idea, in during the Cold War especially, of like, pan-Arabism, the sort of like unified Arab state and stuff like that, which that wouldn't apply in Afghanistan, because it's like there's all this other, like, I think people don't understand like how many different unique cultures, because of the geography of Afghanistan, which is all really intense mountain ranges. So like, you can be in your little river valley and villages and stuff, and what's going on over across this huge jagged mountain range might as well be on another fucking planet, because you never go there, and those people don't come here. Like, you get what I'm saying? Oh, Jacob died.
Oh, he's dead.
He's gone.
No, return. He got taken out.
Yeah, no, but
yeah, like,
so generally, like, I think I would say I've been on the side of we should probably get ourselves out of there, because I feel like we've done more harm than good over the last 20 years, but it's still not great that then now that we have left,
it's going to be a painful exit, and it's going to be more painful for the people left behind in Afghanistan, the people will have to deal with the repercussions. The women who, over the past 20 years, who have, had opportunities they've never had before, and gotten at least a sense of progression and that, now facing down the barrel of a return to the medieval, I guess would be the polite way of putting it, viewpoints of the Taliban towards the equity of women in society. So, yeah, it's and so I would hope that people now in America, especially, who are seeing this unfold, would say, remember this next time.
Yeah.
The war is going around, and say, hey, let's really consider about what we're doing, whether it's worth it, how we're going to do it, and have a realistic end state for us finishing it, rather than say.
I think part of the problem with any kind of plan like that, at least when it comes to the U.S., is no matter what, you're going to have a different guy in charge within 4 to 8 years, and he might not agree with what your idea was, and then he's going to change it, and the next guy's going to change it. So it's hard to have that coherent idea.
And that's very evident in the history of this whole
Also, the American public, they may change their, change their minds.
And we very clearly did. When fucking the towers went down, everybody was gung-ho. Like, the majority of the American public was like, yeah, fucking just, let's get them. Let's kick their ass. We got all this fucking country songs about it. And then,
2 years later, we're invading Iraq, and people are like, wait, I don't
Where is Iraq,
I don't really get how they're connected to what happened.
Yeah.
September 11th.
WMDs?
Another big misstep was, hey, we invaded Iraq, and then Afghanistan was like, hey, you guys are you're on the skeleton crew for the next 7 years while we do this Iraq thing.
Yeah.
And the guys are like, man, it's really hard to conduct counterterrorism operations when you don't have any troops to conduct counterterrorism operations with.
Yeah. And I think
Taliban just kind of getting stronger.
Jacob was touching on the idea that it is. I think I can agree with him in the sense that in theory the idea of being interventionist sounds like we have a ton of power, we have a ton of resources at our disposal, given our position in the world stage. But it's just such and like what you were saying, Brad, with the whole changing of the guard every 4 years with the president potentially and the American public alongside that, having the kind of foresight that's really needed for trying to stabilize any of these situations where we tried to put our hand in and be interventionalists. It's nigh impossible to formulate a plan and then stick to it and make sure that you account for all of the millions of variables that are so literally and figuratively foreign to what we deal with in the United States. Bringing our perspective in is just, it will never be enough, I feel like. And so that's I think what it comes down to is you've got to find you got to find people within the country and within the surrounding area that are have the know-how and knowledge of the home turf that really can sort of
or just
take the helm on it, which is what really should be what it's about. It's the change should come from within, not from without, because that hasn't worked. And having an honest assessment of just really what is a realistic end state. The idea of Afghanistan becoming this cohesive, unified state with a national identity and this burgeoning democracy, it's just bro, those people don't care about, and it's not because they're backward or they're weird culture. It's just different. The way their society has been structured, the way their lives have been structured, they don't give a guy up in fucking Paktia province doesn't give a shit about who is elected leader in Kabul or what, because he's never been there, he's never gonna go there.
Right.
Yeah.
What and just if we think about how long it took for the United States to cohere, as first of all, we had colonies that happened, right? And then for what, those started in the 1600s. So you had like 150 years of colonial living. Yeah. Then there's independence. Then all that disagreement. We had to fight our own civil war to essentially decide. And then really, it's not till the 20th century where like America sort of becomes what what we know it at, what we recognize it as today. Like,
right.
So
expecting to be able to do that.
How do we expect that to do that in a decade in Afghanistan? Like, what? Come on, guys. Like, in other places, like, people point to other places America's intervened, like, obviously World War II and Germany and Japan and then South Korea. But like, those both took a long. Like, we had to rebuild. We had poured so much money and effort into rebuilding those economies of those countries after they were ravaged by war that we fought.
Right.
And also, there were in those countries, there's not like an active insurgency of people who were opposed to us being there. Like, there weren't really like a ton of Germans who were like, "Hey, I'm gonna set roadside bombs and ambush American troops hanging out in Germany," because it's like, well, Hitler's gone, and these Americans are bringing in money, and you could probably argue the cultural gulf between Germans and Americans and Afghans is much narrower in a lot of ways. Yeah. So, and even though it's like took time, it took decades for South Korea to become an actual democracy instead of just like a fake democracy ruled by authoritarian strongmen. Like, there are no quick solutions. There's no easy, quick build your nice little Western democracy kit. It takes time and effort.
You can't buy that at Target.
Yeah, you can't buy that at Target, and you can't.
Time and effort, and that's if you're on the right track and you're doing the right things. And we were clearly not doing the right things in Afghanistan. Yeah. So
you're not, and especially like again going back to it was obviously a reaction to 9/11. So you're not going to have. We clearly didn't have a majority of level heads going into this operation of being like, hi, we need to, strike back against this action. And, while we dived into like, all right, we're going to go fight the Taliban. Well, wait, we have to make sure Afghanistan doesn't support another terrorist group. We got to restructure Afghanistan. Shit. Fuck, we're in too deep. We can't get out now. Shit.
Like, hey, man, is what with all the stuff that's happened around the world, and if we had Iraq is a big part, obviously the Iraq obvious perilous mistake, but that's the thing. Afghanistan was supposed to be the good war, right? Essentially, because I was like, okay, like the people who attacked us, who we know attacked us, we know that's what happened.
Yeah.
Are there in Afghanistan? So like that was supposed to be this is the war we are fighting for the right reasons,
Yeah, there is very clearly defined objective and goal and end game for this.
Well, there should have been, but there wasn't. That's the problem. Yeah. It should have been like, punitive expedition. Fucking Bin Laden gets lit the fuck up. Al-Qaeda gets dispersed and destroyed, and we say to the Taliban, "Hey, we don't want to come back here. We won't have to come back here if you don't let." Terror groups like Al-Qaeda hang out here. Cool. All right, we're out. Goodbye. Yeah. And like that's distasteful in the way of like, hey, we are essentially sort of de facto when that we're sort of implying we're like, hey, Taliban, we're not going to mess with you, even though you don't really stand for any of the ideals we stand for. But the reality of the situation is like we don't want to like get involved in Afghanistan because 10 years before this there was another global superpower who was very involved in Afghanistan, and it didn't go well for them. We saw that. We were like, we actually helped in some ways make sure it didn't go well.
Wow, are you saying that we possibly provided arms to the organization that then would cause 9/11? That's crazy, man.
Well, we didn't give arms to Osama bin Laden because Osama bin Laden, I mean, he had a ton of his own money and he hated the U.S., so he wouldn't.
I thought the Reagan years we gave money and guns.
Did it come out that he was watching Naruto? It was out.
Oh, yeah, he had Naruto. It was.
Oh yeah. The CIA has like some like I forget the webpage, but there's some site where they have like they upload a bunch of files of like all the stuff right there, and it's unfortunate because they recently edited it to like remove copyrighted material, which is like a lot of the random movies and video games he had on there. It's just like
Yeah. Well, it was okay.
It's like Animal Crossing Wild World.
The meme is that yes, Osama bin Laden was watching Naruto.
Delta Force Block Hawk down, Team Saber. Just like weird ass fucking old early 2000s first-person shooters. Like
the reality is that it was probably a shared server that was used for the family and relatives, because there were a lot of families in that compound when they raided Osama's place. So
I think Bin
Laden just he's a weeb, man. He loves that Naruto, bro.
Maybe we'll never know.
This is what media does.
Next Hokage. Until the boys from Damn Neck, Virginia said, "Hello, we are here to deliver your Domino's pizza." Just kidding. We're delivering this 556 to your dome. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fuck situation, and only time will tell how things shake out in the long run. I think on the whole, it's probably in the long run gonna do less harm now that we have left than if we had stayed for another 10 or 20 or however many years.
Less harm to who is the question?
Less harm to...
Certainly less harm to American servicemen, because they're not there to get blown up or shot, but, like, I don't know. I mean...
I don't think there... Like, I don't know. I don't feel like us trying to set up a Western society in the Middle East was really going to benefit the people living there in the long run. I think the ideals of democracy in their ideal form is like something that should be sought for.
I think it's less harm and more of trading different harms. So like the U.S. being there, obviously U.S. troops get targeted by various groups for attacks.
Yeah.
The U.S. people get killed due to the different, due to collateral damage or the certain strategies that the U.S. employed to conduct counterinsurgency and counterterrorism operations. People got caught in the middle of that and killed. Who in a lot of cases shouldn't have been. So,
I
think it's trading just different.
I guess
different bad shit's gonna happen to the people of Afghanistan ultimately.
And as much like I guess it's like goes back to the crux of the conversation, which is that interventionism can be a force of good to help the people in the affected area, but it needs to be very, very well thought out, and it needs to be coordinated with the people who are going to be affected in that area. And I don't think that was done well enough at all in any of, in Afghanistan, as well as literally every other operation we've tried to pull off, where we've pulled a similar maneuver. And this is just us pulling out the white flag and being like, well, at this point, it's pulling... I don't think there was any scenario where we could 180 at this far in. And it's just, like... And, and if... I don't know, if we could, it would, like...
I mean, if there was the political will in the United States, and maybe, maybe people thought differently or felt differently, you could say, okay, yeah, we're going to have to spend a long-term commitment.
And
put American troops in here, and maybe, a couple of that, there's more progress gets made, but, unfortunately, that is just not the reality.
I think this, I just realized, like, so, again, the component is, like, you need support from people in the region, and I think because we fucked up so bad over the last 20 years at doing anything besides just holding the line, like supporting actually good representatives for people in the Middle East to start establishing a good internal foundation. It's like we fucked up so bad that our image is completely ruined for I would probably assume the majority of the inhabitants there. Like, I don't know, it's like I don't think you're going to get the ability to be able to coordinate with the majority of the people that you'd want to try and like stabilize things there at this point, because of the bad taste that we've left in their mouths for the last 20 years. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. So if it's a lost cause, I think that is probably the most salient reason to make this maneuver and justify the chaos that has ensued afterwards. It's obviously not good, but I think that's just where we're at this point. It's unfortunate that we got here, but I
really want to know what Jacob's quote was going to be.
I do too.
Mad.
I'm
honestly. The fucking Brit bongs cut the power to his house. See, society has progressed past the need for Britain. It's time for the British meme to end.
I fucking love that meme of Cell just like posed with his fucking Kamehameha over the entirety of Great Britain, just be like, it's time to put an end to the so-called English. Just fucking ending them.
There's my favorite meme about that is a picture of a map where like England has just been deleted, and it's just water, and it's just like, whew. It was all a bad nightmare.
It was all a dream. What if it was all a dream? Supremely better world. God bless. But yeah. All right. It's been an hour. I know you gotta pop off, Brad. So I'll let you get out of here. But if you did drop something that you were asking for help for, so I think we would be remiss if we were not to at least touch on it. You say you are looking for a car. Is there anything in particular that you're worried about or looking for in terms of advice?
I was hoping that Jacob would be here because I was going to bring up the inflation and what I wanted to know what his thoughts on it were.
Oh no! Oh god. Well,
inflationary pressures. I wanted to see what he thinks.
Oh!
It's not too late.
Oh! Get him back in here. Get back.
Should turn into Jacob's help desk.
Brad needs econ major. Brad needs your econ major, Jacob. Get in here. Hey man, I'm just saying, well, obviously you have your own needs or whatever, but I got myself the 7-seater Ford.
7-door?
Yeah, I actually got myself a limousine. No. I got myself a Ford SUV, and it's been pretty nice to me. So, for the past over a year now, I guess. I've had it for over a year. Wow. So that would be my hat in the lot, but I don't know if you're...
Was yours new or used?
Used. Oh, definitely get used. There's not...
Yeah, I was not planning to get new, but used cars are up right now because of inflation.
Wow. But are they... There's no way they're going to be any more... Are they somehow more expensive than new cars?
I don't know, but they're way up there.
No, but they're not like... Their value's gone up, so like... Your money doesn't go as far as it used to, in like where you could get like, oh, I could get something pretty decent for maybe 10,000 or under, or whatever it is. Now that's a lot harder to get a car that's doesn't have some compromise, whether history, mechanical problems, or just a really old model, like whatever. If you're looking for modern features and comforts that you would expect on most factory new cars at this point, like. So
I guess at that point, the question I'm imagining you want to ask is like.
All right, Dragon Maker, he's here.
Oh, he's here.
Get him.
Okay.
All right, I'll hit him with this.
Okay. Jacob, you're needed.
Jacob, I'm looking to buy.
The British, okay?
All right, hold on. Wait, real quick. What was your line? What was your quote?
Oh, it was like this quote. I feel like I remember hearing about these two British dignitaries or whatever, and saying they were like, "What's the difference between one grain of sand versus the other?" And I was like, "Oh, big fucking difference." Anyway, that was the quote I was gonna say. What happened?
We're on
we need your
Brad's
expertise
need for car buying advice.
Oh, I'm looking to buy a used car. However, due to inflation, used car prices are up. So I'm wondering, as your economist, through your economist lens, what do you think's going on with the inflation and with used car prices? Should I wait or should I go?
Now, is that a car pun? As an economist, I do need to ask that. You're asking if you have the green light to go or the red light. Hold your horses, hit the brakes on that car purchase.
Correct.
Jacob.
I'm really wondering about it.
I mean, the answer is that the prices will probably still be high for they probably won't go down for a little bit. Now, this is a problem because we decided to create a supply chain issue in this country by entrusting companies. It's going great. To make the proper decisions. And so when the pandemic hit, they sold a bunch of their materials in cars because they said, oh, well, people won't be buying that much stuff. And it turns out that society has actually progressed to the point where you can order things at home. It's fucking crazy, right? So demand kind of stayed about, it dipped a little bit, but then it kind of like plateaued. And they were like, oh shit, people are still buying things? What the fuck? We sold all our inventory. And then when things started opening back up, everyone was like, oh yeah, I want one of those. And so also they had the cash to spend because they hadn't been spending as much money, because I don't know if you know this, when you stop commuting to work, you save a fuckload of money. I mean, there are other reasons for that. Blah 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 blah.
But bottom line, how long
led
is it gonna...
also it led to a huge hunger in the used car market, because places like rental car agencies also sold their inventory, and like I said, the car companies themselves sold their inventory, so they can't produce cars fast enough to satiate the rental car market. And so all of that is leading to an increase in used cars because of compounding factors, because there's demand but not enough supply to reach people buying cars, and so people are going to the used car market in order to fulfill that need, so on and so forth. It's probably going to plateau out at some point. I think this inflation is pretty temporary.
I hope so.
But I don't know. The inflation in my mind, the inflation concerns are overblown, because inflation only really sticks when people say it is worth paying these higher prices, and you just
grin and bear it.
Yeah, you grin and bear it, and you
grin and bear it like the bear market. Am I right,
you don't
fellow
panic,
econ majors?
Because when you panic, that's when the prices stick at their higher price, and you just accept that this is the higher price you're going to pay, and that is when actual inflationary problems kick in. Like when it starts to spiral, and people say, "I assume that this price will increase, so I affect my buying options like that." Where they say, "Okay, I need to buy all of this before the price goes up." Well, when you buy all of it, that actually drives the price up, causing more inflation. So, like, it's one of these things.
So you're telling me don't buy the car so I don't drive the inflation up, right?
I mean, it's not like it's up to your personal decision making. I just think the best way to prevent inflation is to not worry about it, and don't go out and mass buy things assuming the price will go up, because that will make the price go up.
So, Brad, don't buy all the cars, but maybe buying one car is okay.
Yeah, one car.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm really sorry, but I have to dip out right now.
No worries,
but thank you for the advice. I'm glad you
buy that car.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm glad you made it back in time to give me the advice.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you for joining us, Brad. And I think we're about to cut it off here for the show in general, because we have still gone over somehow. So thank you guys all so much for joining me here on this episode, and thank you guys so much for watching. Probably no episode next week unless I somehow get the Chuckle Fucks that I'm going to Disney with to do an episode, but we will see about that.
Yeah, enjoy getting the Ligma variant of
COVID. Yeah, Disney. You did get the trip going.
The Ligma and Sugma variants, all in one.
I hate Ron DeSantis, and this trip would have a lot less stress on it if he wasn't one of the worst fucking governors of all time.
Yeah.
Which is saying something for Florida.
Genuinely says a lot for the state of Florida.
But in any case, until we see you next, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and I gotta chug this water now. So peace out.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis is fucking eat my fucking nuts. Holy shit, fuck that guy.